December is insane. There is a huge amount of new Switch and Switch 2 games dropping, so in this one, I'm covering my top 20 that you need to keep an eye on, and some of these, they are massive. So get your wishlist ready, prepare the bank account, and let's just jump straight into every big Switch release hitting in December. Marvel Cosmic Invasion kicks things off, and this is a proper beat-em-up. Tribute Games, team behind TMNT Shredder's Revenge, they are back with .emu and Marvel Games to deliver a full planet-hopping brawler built around 15 playable heroes. You've got Spider-Man, Wolverine, Captain America, Nova, and the list goes on. They are all teaming up against Annihilus and the Annihilation Wave. The big hook here, though, is the Cosmic Swap tag team system. You choose 2 heroes per stage, and you switch between them instantly to chain combos, specials, and team-up attacks. And the pixel art, it looks incredible. Pure Shredder's Revenge vibes, and the whole thing supports both local and online co-op. Now, as a massive beat-em-up fan, I've got everything crossed, this one delivers. And with Tribute behind it, yeah, I've got a lot of faith. Red Dead Redemption is getting a full Switch 2 upgrade this month, and if you already own the Switch 1 version, it's completely free. That is huge. Now, for context, the original Switch port was already one of the most impressive on the system. You're stepping into the final days of the Wild West as John Marston, hunting down the last members of his former gang. The storytelling, atmosphere, the world building, it still hits incredibly hard even all these years later. And now with the Switch 2 upgrade, hopefully we're looking at sharper visuals, better performance, and a serious layer of polish. It was great before, I'm excited to see now how far Rockstar pushes it on the new hardware. Assassin's Creed Shadows is dropping on Switch 2, and I think this is massive for December. Now, I played it on PlayStation originally and really enjoyed it, especially the dual character setup. It feels a little different. So one character's built for raw power, smashing through armor, taking on groups head on, while the other leans into stealth, parkour, that classic assassin infiltration. Switching between these two styles, though, it keeps the pacing sharp, and the missions, they let you approach targets however you want. And honestly, what sold it for me was the setting. War-torn Japan, dynamic weather, day-night cycles, open-ended objectives. I think it is one of Ubisoft's most atmospheric worlds in years. And then the combat, it feels weighty, the stealth feels deliberate, and the whole game just has generally a more grounded tone than the last few entries. And on the Switch 2 now, I'm really curious to see how it holds up. Star Wars Outlaws was a shockingly strong port, so if this gets the same treatment, we could be looking at another big AAA game that performs far better than anyone expects. Just a quick one then, if you're finding this useful, do me a favour, hit subscribe. I cover new Switch content every single day. Now, game number 4, BROK the Brawl Bar. This is a spin-off from BROK the Investigator. That was the point-and-click brawler hybrid, and it worked surprisingly well. But this one, it goes full arena fighter. Now, you're playing as BROK, a former boxer who finds an underground fight bar in the slums and immediately jumps back in to prove he's still got what it takes. The hook is 60+ challenges with weird modifiers and twists, 6 playable characters, and 4-player local co-op. There's also a creator mode to build and share your own setups. And yeah, it promises to be gritty, silly, and so I guess with this one, look, if you want something different in December, something you can maybe play with friends or family, this could be a fun little surprise. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is already out on Switch 1, but December brings the proper Switch 2 upgrade, and in my opinion, it really needs it. The original port had, on Switch 2 at least when you're playing the Switch 1 version, rough visuals, constant resolution drops, and frame rate issues that somehow actually felt worse through that backwards compatibility. And that's a shame, because underneath that is a genuinely great kart racer. Great track design, strong sense of speed, awesome character moves. It just felt held back. This upgrade should finally deliver the full version, so sharper image, cleaner performance, the works. On Switch 1, I actually think it's a very good game. The only downfall here is it is a paid upgrade if you already own it. So yeah, curious to see how much it actually costs, but if you are a fan, I think it's definitely going to be worth that investment. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond finally arrives this December on both Switch 1 and Switch 2, and it might be one of the biggest technical showcases yet for Nintendo's hardware, and I mean that generally for the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. Now on Switch 2 specifically, you are getting bonuses. You're getting mouse-style controls up to 4K resolution in TV mode, frame rates up to 120 FPS, and full HDR support. Now as for the game itself, Samus is transported to planet Furos, a dense jungle world packed with ancient ruins, alien wildlife, and hostile creatures. And the core loop I'm expecting? Classic Prime. Gunplay blended with scanning, exploring, uncovering clues, and slowly piecing together why she was brought here. The big twist this time though is that Samus gains psychic abilities that's tied to traversal and puzzles. It's going to let you interact with this environment in ways that feel completely new. And running beneath all of that then is a mysterious force hunting her across the planet. This is easily one of the biggest releases of December for a lot of people, totally get it. And after how long we've waited, it's kind of surreal, but it's finally here. Octopath Traveler Zero is coming to both Switch 1 and Switch 2, and I really like what I've seen. Now, I played it at Gamescom, and there's actually a 3-hour demo on the eShop right now. I've covered that demo in detail here on the channel. Link below if you do want that full breakdown, but definitely go check it out for yourself. Now, this one takes the usual Octopath formula, but it finally lets you create the protagonist. You build them from scratch, appearance, voice, animations. And then from there, you'll be rebuilding your hometown through a full town building system. So basically, instead of 8 separate stories, everything here centers around that hero you create. Now, combat then is still the classic break and boost system, but now you can recruit from over 30 allies, and you'll be forming parties of up to 8 characters. And then invite NPCs to your town, steal items, challenge people, shape the story however you want. And on top of all of this, it's still that gorgeous HD 2D style that we know and love. Old School Rally then is one I've had my eyes on for a while. Now there's a demo on the eShop which I still need to try myself, but everything about it from the screenshots, it just screams late 90s rally nostalgia. Now I grew up on games like V-Rally and Colin McRae, so that's the vibe here, so I'm definitely interested. It's fast, arcade leaning, it's all about clean lines, high-speed cornering. It's not sim handling basically, but the retro 3D visuals, I think it just like they nail that chunky, colourful style without feeling cheap. And then here you're getting global tracks with different surfaces, so dirt, snow, tarmac, plus cars that are inspired by the classics. It was also made by a solo developer, built it to basically fill the gap that was left by modern rally games. So if you are nostalgic for that era, like I am, this one could be a sleeper hit. Nightmare the Lunatic is one I honestly knew nothing about until I stumbled across the Steam reviews. Over 200 of them, very positive, and then one person wrote, "This game is as if Dead Souls, School the Hero Slayer, and The Binding of Isaac had a child." And yeah, that got my attention immediately. So this is a roguelite action RPG, where you're basically stuck in an endless nightmare. You're pushing deeper through procedurally generated regions. The combat from what I'm seeing looks very fast, so dashing, dodging, parrying, and you can expect big boss fights guarding each area. You can then bring up to 3 weapons and swap mid-run, and every attempt strengthens that character through new contracts and abilities. So yeah, from what I'm seeing, tight action, high difficulty, progression that keeps pulling you back in. Yeah, if those Dead Cells comparisons are true, this could be one of the real under-the-radar hits of 2025. Blood Refresh Supply is one I don't know a huge amount personally, but it's from Night Dive. They very rarely miss, so if you're into boomer shooters, take a look at this one. So it's basically a full modern rebuild, the original Blood, a game I haven't played personally. You play as Caleb, an undead gunslinger, clawing his way out of the grave after being betrayed by his demonic master. Pure revenge, basically, seems to be the name of the game here, and it's run across 40 plus levels. Expect though dynamite, flare guns, shotguns, voodoo dolls. It's just that fast, crunchy, over-the-top 90s FPS energy. And this version then bundles the classic expansions, adds cleaned-up cutscenes, restores cut content in what is a museum vault, and updated controls and co-op. So if you like your shooters gothic, gory, and it seems like unapologetically retro, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. Skate Story is published by Devolver Digital, so you already know you're getting something weird and wonderful. And this one seems to be basically Tony Hawk meets an A24 fever dream. So yeah, you're a demon made of glass, handed a skateboard, and the devil tells you, skate to the moon and eat it. That's the mission. Now, I played the Steam demo and it completely sold me. You're drifting through smoky, underworld streets, you're popping tricks over crumbling pathways, and you're really kind of learning the weight and the flow of this board. The skating feels more about momentum, precision, and rhythm rather than button mashing. And along this journey then, you're going to be helping tortured souls, outrunning demons, and unlocking new decks and wheels, and it's then all backed by this hypnotic dreamlike soundtrack. So if you like your games stylish, surreal, and dripping with atmosphere, you should take a look at this one on Switch 2. It looks incredibly special. Kiborg, I'm not sure how to say it, but it looks like a really interesting one. Now, when I first saw the key art on the eShop, I'll be honest, I assumed it was cheap shovelware, but it's actually from the team behind Redeemer and Nine Monkeys of Shaolin, both solid kind of mid-tier action games. So now I'm paying attention. Now, this is a roguelite beat-em-up where you're a prisoner serving a 1300-year sentence, and yeah, if you die, they literally reconstruct you and throw you back in. Your only way out is the last ticket, and that is reach the shuttle on the prison roof before anyone kills you. Combat then mixes old school brawler action with shooters and full roguelike chaos, and you're going to be ripping limbs off, tearing out cybernetic cores, and dealing with enemies that have unique abilities and nasty combinations. The build variety looks wild too, swapping out limbs for cybernetic upgrades, stacking mutations, experimenting with hundreds of augmentations. On top of that, melee weapons, firearms, combos. If they nail the performance on Switch, then yeah, I could definitely be into it. Farming Simulator Signature Edition is coming to Switch 2, and I always end up getting way more hooked on these than I expect. There's just something relaxing about slipping into a routine, expanding your land, and quietly building a farming empire. This one gives you 3 very different maps: a big open North American farm, a tighter Central European countryside, and a lush East Asian region built around rice paddies, plus 25 crops. On top of that then, full forestry, construction, and of course, livestock. And with over 400 machines from 150 real brands, all running on better clarity and performance on Switch 2, this should easily be the best portable way to lose an evening to virtual farming. A game about digging a hole is next, and on the surface, it absolutely looks like a throwaway experience, even shovelware. But after watching a brilliant video on it from Jacob Geller, who always finds the meaning in the strange stuff, I have to play it. You dig, sell what you find, upgrade your tools, and keep going deeper. And the deeper you go, the stranger it gets. Every new layer feels like you're unearthing some quiet mystery rather than just treasure. There's no rush, no pressure, just you, the dirt, and this weird sense of purpose that builds the longer you dig. And for about the price of a coffee, it'll probably hold your attention way longer. Little Rocket Lab is one I knew almost nothing about until I dug into it, and now it is firmly on my radar. It's launching on both Switch 1 and Switch 2 with a free upgrade path, and it already has nearly 1,000 very positive reviews on Steam. Most people describe it as a more accessible, friendlier take on Factorio, so yes, we are talking automation, machines, conveyor belts, all that satisfying problem-solving energy. Now you play as Morgan, an aspiring engineer returning home to finish her family's dream project, and that is build a rocket ship. But the town isn't quite how she left it, so you end up researching new machines, mining resources, and building increasingly elaborate contraptions to help out the locals. It ranges from simple drills and furnaces all the way up to cranes, robotics, and sprawling factory chains, all tied into this kind of like warm, small town story. So if you enjoy games where you break a problem apart, automate the solution, and slowly build something huge and clever piece by piece, this might be one to watch. Pokémon Legends Mega Dimension is a quicker one then because it's paid DLC rather than a full new game, but it is a chunky expansion. So basically it's adding a whole post-game storyline where weird distortions basically pop up around this city and drag you into hyperspace. It's an alternate version with tougher battles, new encounters, and mega evolutions coming back in a big way. So yeah, look, if you love the base game, you want tougher battles or more endgame content, this is promising to deliver exactly that. Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader is one I've already played on Steam and absolutely just adore. So getting this on Switch 2, it's a huge deal for me personally. It's a full story-rich CRPG from Owlcat. That's the team behind Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. And it plays exactly like you'd hope. Massive choices, deep party building, and a ridiculous amount of narrative branching. Now you play as a rogue trader who's traveling through the expanse aboard your own monstrous void ship. Basically, it's a flying cathedral the size of a city. It's a wild part of Galaxy, basically, though, full of danger, profit, and things you probably shouldn't poke, but of course, you will. Now, along the way, you'll recruit a whole crew of heroes, assassins, all sorts, just very questionable characters, and every companion has their own storyline, and your decisions then will steer their futures. The combat then, full turn-based tactics, cover, positioning, environmental damage, big hero abilities, and it's all adapted from the classic Rogue Trader tabletop rule set, meaning there's a ridiculous amount of build variety. So if you like CRPGs with weight, consequence, and big crunchy combat, this is one of the best in the genre right now, and I cannot wait to see how it performs on Switch 2. Terminator 2D, No Fate, is one I'm honestly excited for purely on style alone. This is a full retro pixel art reimagining of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now, it's not just a retelling of the film, but it's expanding it with original missions, alternate scenarios, and multiple endings. Now, you play as Sarah Connor, John Connor, and the T-800 across a mix of stealth, shooting, escape sequences, and future war battles, all wrapped up in that chunky arcade feel. And what I love here is that presentation. The 2D sprites look fantastic. The soundtrack it pulls from the classic score, and the whole thing feels like the kind of cabinet you'd find hidden in the back of this 80s arcade. It's basically all very faithful, but not afraid to still have fun with the formula. And if you're into things like score chasing, there's a ranking system, there's boss battles, there's boss rush modes, there's infinite mode. It's basically the whole package. So I just love this franchise, and seeing it brought back with this much style makes it an easy pickup. The Rogue Prince of Persia is another big December release, and it's one I've actually already sunk a good amount of time into on Steam, and honestly, it feels like it was made for the Switch. So this is Evil Empire's take on the series. That's the team behind Dead Cells, so expect fast, stylish movement, precision combat, and that one more run itch just baked into every part of the experience. Now the setup, classic Prince of Persia with a twist. You're the prince who should have died, and your one mistake has doomed the kingdom. Basically, every death here, it sends you back, but with more knowledge, more tools, and more ways to push deeper into the corrupted lands and rewrite your fate. It's roguelike structure done properly. Each failure actually helps shape the next attempt. But movement, that's the star here. Wall runs, vaults, slides, chaining jumps into attacks. It is incredibly fluid, and once you get into the rhythm, it just feels incredible. And the build variety then as well, over 100 weapons and medallions that you can mix and match just to create your own playstyle. Think from fast-paced combo-heavy runs to slower, heavier hits. It is a really fun game, and I think it belongs on the Switch. I think that will be its perfect home. Stardew Valley then is our last game of the video, and it doesn't actually have a confirmed date for the Switch 2 upgrade yet, but they did say winter 2025, and as of right now, we've got about 4 weeks left, so there's still a chance this lands before that year wraps up. What we do know is that the update is shaping up to be a pretty major one. You're getting local 4-player split screen, Joy-Con mouse controls, game share, so friends can jump in even without owning the game, and then I'd expect the usual visual bump you see on Switch 2. Amazingly as well, it's all going to be free. So fingers crossed it hits the 2025 window, because if it does, this is going to be a huge late year release for Switch 2 players. And that is 20 games I'm genuinely excited for in December 2025, and honestly this month is ridiculous. I had to cut around 8 games I really wanted to talk about just to get this list down to 20, which tells you everything about how stacked December is for Switch and Switch 2. So if you enjoyed this roundup today or found a couple of new games to wishlist, consider subscribing. I cover this stuff every single day. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers all.